let's start reacting a little bit or talking some of the Steelers 53-man roster, right? And like I said, if you guys are digging this conversation today, make sure I hit that like button one time for the culture. All right. But as we currently look at the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, I'm gonna read off all the names that did not make it for the audio only crowd. We obviously know. Shout out to y'all listeners over there, wherever you're at, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, all that good stuff. But for the names of the players that did not make it, John Rise Plumlee, Jack Coletto, fullback too, absolutely. Dejon Edwards, LaMichael Pirine, Aaron Shamplin. Man, I butchered that. My bad, Shamplin. Jonathan Ward, Tariq Black, wide receiver Jacob Copeland, Des Fitzpatrick, Jeray Jenkins, TJ Luther, Quez Watkins, and Deuce Watts. We released 2 tight ends, Matt Sokol and Rodney Williams. A couple of offensive linemen that we released, Tyler Beach, Tykeem Doss, Joey Fisher, Devry Hamilton, Anderson Hardy. All right, then released 3 D linemen, Wellington Prevalon, Jacob Slade, and Marquise Spencer. Then we had a couple of LBs, and I think that it's gonna be a little talk some of these in a little bit. But at linebacker, man, Marcus Haynes, Kyron Johnson, Kaiva Tazino, LaQuay Washington, and Jacoby Windman. I like Jacoby, man. I'm sorry, I like Jacoby. My bad. All right, then at DB, man, we had a good little amount of these guys, man. Graylin Arnold, Anthony Averett, Kaylon Barnes, Zion Gilbert, Thomas Graham Jr., Kyler McMichael, Nathan Meters, Keandre Thomas, and then we had one specialist not make it, and that's Deke's second favorite kicker, Matthew Wright. Okay, so a little bit interesting, man, in terms of the guys that did not make it. All right. I mean, just starting with those guys. Or actually, you know what? So those guys didn't make it. So with that being the case, let me react to those real quick. All right. Then we'll get back to the dudes that did make it, and we'll talk about them even more so because they give a little bit more context as well. But no real surprise at the quarterback room, man. John Ross Plumlee. I think in a matter of, let me see if they've already updated it just yet. But it should be a matter of time before he's back potentially on the practice squad, man. You know how this thing goes. Let me see. Yeah, we haven't updated ours just yet, so we will see, man. But I'll be interested to see, like I said, man, where he lands. I think he's going to end up on somebody's practice squad, probably ours. But like I said, not a surprise that he was released. I was a little bit surprised to see, Dejon Edwards or even Jonathan Ward being on this list in terms of being released. But at the same time, I'm not, solely because look at our running back room, man. With Najee, Cordell Patterson, and Jaylen Warren going on record saying that he's playing week 1. I mean, where's the room at for the guys, And that's the part for me where it was just like, dang, I wish we could have kept one of those dudes, but maybe practice squad gives those guys some type of NFL life, and that kind of lets them wait in the wings until an opportunity comes for them. Wide receiver room, I thought that one of these 2 guys would still be here in the sense of Des Fitzpatrick or Quez Watkins. Deuce Watts is another name you could throw in there, but when you think about us only keeping 5 wide receivers, and we're going to talk about that for the guys that did make it, but we only kept 5 of these dudes, that was the part where I was just like, man, I think we're a little light in that room, along with us not really having that true, special teams gunner type guy in that room, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. All right. No real surprise to me at tight end, man, with Matt Sokol and Rodney Williams being released. Not a lot of surprises in this offensive line room either. Trenches, I would agree. In terms of the D linemen, not really surprised. I was positively surprised at the fact that we kept an additional interior D lineman. I thought, one of those guys when we were talking between the Logan Lees, your Dean Lowrys, or your Isaiah Loudermilks, I thought potentially one of those guys might have fell victim, but it's good to see that they did not, man. So salute the boy still being employed, man. Love that. Kyron Johnson, though. Kyron Johnson and Jacoby Windman, for me, I was a little bit surprised by. Partly when we're talking about Kyron Johnson, more so because we're still just trying to figure out, man, our outside linebacker room past Nick Herbig, right? We got our big 3 and we feel great about that. But then it was kind of like that, is it a Jeremiah Moon? Is it a Julius Weshoff? We know at one point Marcus Golden was here prior to him retiring. So I thought with Kyron Johnson, because he had a little bit more experience as well, I thought that kind of would help him get the leg up. But when you look at Jeremiah and Julius this preseason, those guys did both, outproduce Kyron at the outside linebacker position. So I can definitely understand the decision to go this route. With Jacoby Windman, I just was a fan of him, man. I thought that he played well. I liked his versatility, being able to be on the outside and the inside. But like I said, man, when we look at the amount of inside linebackers that we did decide to keep, while also, putting Cole Holcomb on the pup list, that was part of, the situation right now, man. All right. And then in the DB room, the big surprise to me, Graylin Arnold, Anthony Averett, or even Thomas Graham Jr. Why Thomas Graham Jr. specifically? Because Thomas Graham has started at slot corner for us in 2 out of our 3 preseason games. Just like, man, we don't really have a lot of depth at slot corner. This guy's been starting for us, and it's been him and Beanie Bishop. And yeah, it was like, yo, we're good. He stayed. We'll keep some safeties. That part I was a little bit surprised by, and that's the reason why I still am holding out to see, maybe we're going to add something along the lines here, because that just was a little bit of a head scratcher from my perspective, man. But outside of that, man, Matthew Wright getting got at kicker, wasn't really surprised by that, just because, like I said, we know we have Boz. So like I said, those were the guys that were released, right? Now flipping into the guys that actually did make it, man. We did keep 24 players on offense, 26 players on defense, and 3 of these cats on special teams. Offensively, man, we know we kept Kyle Allen, Justin Fields, and the new QB1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, baby. Shout out to Russ. Shout out to Russ. All right. Yeah, we're going to talk. We definitely going to get back and talk about that QB1 situation. How y'all feel about it now? That's officially official, okay? But we do got some other names in here, man. 3 running backs we did keep. Najee Harris, Cordell Patterson, along with Jalen Warren. Then on the offensive line, man, Spencer Anderson, James Daniels, Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, Broderick Jones, Ryan McCullum, Mason McCormick, Dan Moore Jr., and the recently injured and the guy that's making us all have a little heart palpitations and stuff like that is Isaac Seumalo. Shout out to Seumalo, man. You better get right, bro. Ain't got time for you to get hurt. 3 tight ends we did keep, /3.5. I'll call it 3.5 tight ends. Pat Freiermuth, Michael Pruitt, and Darnell Washington. And we had 1 player with the slash designation. Tight end / fullback, and that's Connor Hayward. I like this, but this is interesting to me, man. But I like it. 5 wide receivers, like I mentioned earlier, man. Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, George Pickens, Roman Wilson. Then we take it to the defensive side of the ball, man. Obviously, 8 D linemen we did keep, man. Montravius Adams, Keanu Benton, Cameron Hayward, DeMarvin Leal, Logan Lee, Isaiah Loudermilk, Dean Lowry, and Larry Ogunjobi. So I definitely like all of those guys. And like I said, once I read through all the names, I am going to go back and kind of get my thoughts on certain individuals and certain people that did not make it. All right. But 8 linebackers were kept for the Steelers this year. Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, Tyler Matakavich, a.k.a. Dirty Red. Then after that, Patrick Queen, Big Money, Landon E. Roberts, Mark Robinson. Love the fact that he's in the building. TJ Watt, and of course the young guy that we're all excited about, Peyton Wilson. 10 DBs is what we kept though. 10 of them things. Beanie Bishop Jr. Shout out to Lord West Virginia over there, man. Lot of heart, lot of pride. Like his production this preseason. Deshaun Elliott, Jalen Elliott also. Minka Fitzpatrick, Dante Jackson, DeMonte Casey, Miles Killebrew, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Rush, and Corey Trice Jr. Shout out to Corey Trice making it. 3 specialists, no surprise there. Chris Boswell, punters Cameron Johnston, and of course that long snapper Christian Kuntz. All right. So like I said, man, good little squad, man, of guys right there. Good little squad of guys right there. So let's talk about it though. All right. So at running back, man, I don't have the issue with any of those 3 dudes being here, man. Najee, Cordell, Jalen. Love all 3. I think all 3 are going to complement each other. And we got a chance to see Cordell actually, looked explosive and elusive in the open field, man, this past game against the Lions, man. So definitely like that. Offensive line wise, on paper, I like the group. Obviously, we want them to play a lot better. And I think we will now that the regular season is here, but health is going to be a big factor in this thing, man. And it's crazy when you think about the health standpoint for the O-line. Shoot, just the past 2 years, man, outside of us benching Chooks for, him having some situation, back and forth with the coaching staff and us putting in Broderick, we've had, pretty much the same offensive line each and every game, which is rare, but it's a great problem to have, right? And the fact that, it was continuity, it was stability. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, all right, is Troy back? What's up with Broderick's arm? We know Herbig's done with the torn pec and everything like that. And now we're trying to see what's going on with Sayumalo. So that's the part where we're just like, man, let's hope the injury bug can kind of stay away from us, because we've been very fortunate and very lucky these past couple of seasons with our offensive line. But the reason why I do still feel a little bit optimistic about it is if dudes get hurt, man, it will put a little bit more pressure on those guys as a whole. But I also think at the same time, man, it just makes you lock in a lot more versus you coming into some of these games and you do put your guard down a little bit, because we are kind of young at certain positions. And if you watch the tape at times, it looks like we do that, unfortunately, man. So for me, I just think that, when you come into a situation where our back's against the wall, we don't have a lot of depth here, we don't have a lot of, players that are available right now, it's going to make you just prepare with a little bit more edge. So, like I said, man, that could be the pros to that thing, man, but we shall see. And what up, Mano? I see you in the building with me as well, man. Salute you right back, baby. But at tight end, shout out to the 3.5 tight ends, because this is the part that was a little bit unique, man. Obviously, Jack Coletto is a true fullback. And we've talked about fullback and the job of a fullback, right? Whether it was Rosie Nix, whether we're talking Derek Watt, right? In terms of how we'll utilize those guys, more battering rams in between, leading up on linebackers and hitting, backside DNs and stuff like that. Connor is capable of that, yes. But is that Connor's specialty? Is that Connor's game? No. And I think that that's the only part that I'm just trying to figure out how Arthur Smith is trying to, approach this thing. Because if it's the Jack Coletto, I think the approach is more of that we're going to be more physical and really hit you in the mouth. I think with Connor, it's a little bit more disguise oriented, along with, yes, we can do some of these things, but we're not going to do a ton of those type of things in terms of him having to be a lead blocker inside the hole, man, with some of these linebackers, because it's just a difference of, you having to be a lead blocker versus an Landon Roberts type. Those are the guys that typically are on the field when it's a fullback on the field, man. But the flip side is we could treat it like old school New England, right? Back when they had Hernandez, Gronk, I think, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the third guy. But they would kind of get you in these big body personnel groupings, and their answer to you playing base to stop the run was they're going to spread these guys out and let their athletes kind of expose you in space. I think with Connor Hayward and Muth, you can definitely get away with that, and even when you throw in Michael Pruitt. So if that's going to be more of the approach and we're using it more of a, man, I want to give you some deception here, but I really want to attack you almost, vertically or through the air this way, I love that. But if we're trying to really, in a true traditional sense, have Connor Hayward doing some of that run blocking stuff, man, is he capable? Sure. But I just think it will be a little bit of a challenge. No different than if we're talking George Pickens, right? We all know George Pickens can catch it. Could you put him at tight end? Sure, he can catch it. He'll route a lot of people up at tight end. But when it's time for him to block one of these down D linemen, man, it's going to be an issue. So that's kind of how I look at Connor. It's like, man, you can do this. I think it won't be terrible at times, but like, man, I don't think that that's what he wants to be, defined as, because that's a different world, man, playing that fullback position at the NFL level. But we shall see. We shall see, man. And yeah, I kind of agree with you too, Stan Clear and Mike Hood, man. I do want to see a little bit more of Mr. Darnell Washington, man. We know the size that he has, man. I thought that he did play a lot better this preseason from a blocking standpoint in comparison to how it was at times last year. We know last year, man, we remember certain games where he did kind of struggle, where he did, not have the best performances. I think for him this year, man, just having another year under his belt, a full offseason, I think for him it's going to help him out. And I think that that's what we've already seen in these first 3 preseason games along with training camp. So hopefully that's what carries over into the regular season, man. But that's kind of my energy with Darnell, man, because like I said, he brings a lot from a size perspective. Now, y'all gotta let me know how y'all feel about this wide receiver room, man. We only got 5 cats, bro. 5 wide receivers we keeping. Whew. Maybe I'm tripping. That just seemed light. It seems really light. What if I want to go? I can't go 5 wide. I could go 5 wide. What if he's tired? I don't know. With my 3 wide, I just got questions, man. Where's my gun and readiness thing? I don't have a legit special team. I got some return men in here now. Calvin's a return man. Scotty Mills a return man. Roman Wilson's a return man. But yeah, man, it's just I don't know. I'm used to seeing like a Miles Boykin up here, or Darius Bay up here, something like that up there. I just don't see that just yet. I see quicks, I see speed, I see agility. I know for certain one guy. But yeah, man, I'm just it's a little light for me. Just a little light. Now the Bro says we got more wide receivers to come. Cody James says, yeah, buddy, it's light, bro. It's a little light. Richard Arbizo, I want to believe that as well. It does feel like we're bringing in somebody. I'm hoping we are. Who? That's the big question. Into what level, right? Because if we'll gotta see. We just gotta see, man. We gotta see. Hopefully it's somebody of, a little bit higher status that could help elevate it a little bit more. David Decker, you telling me give it time. I'm trying to give it time, David. I'm trying. But you know what's happening next weekend, right? I'm just, just like, yo, bro, come on, man. Clock's ticking, man. Clock's ticking. That's all. I thought Tim Patrick, but Tim Patrick's already signed somewhere, man. Yeah. Shout out to Tyler, man. Also, shout out to Tyler, man. Obviously, in the short that he had recently released, he talks about some of these potential wide receiver targets. Tim Patrick was one of the names, but he done got already, man. Yeah, I'm just like, bro, I don't know who it is. I don't care who it is. Just, can I see something? Like, bring me somebody, man. That's all. And I know we're not supposed to bring up Brandon Ayuk. We're all supposed to be done with Brandon Ayuk, but I'm not, okay? I need to know something. Yeah, at least stamp it one way or the other. Because, yeah, bro, Noah Brown, Zeke Shazy, I like Noah Brown. Trust me, I do, man. I know he got released. But I also saw that we didn't put a claim in for anybody. Did y'all notice that we didn't put a claim in for none of these dudes, man? So I just don't know, bro. I don't know. Hannibal Onana, I'm with you, bro. I'm not done with Brandon Ayuk either, man. I'm not. Because I'm just like, bro, we light, man. I ain't panicking, but I ain't feeling comfortable either. And yes, I get it. Oh, man, we're going to play through the tight ends. Sure, in theory, that sounds good, but I still need a wide receiver 2 that can give me at least 500. At least 500 to 700, man. That's what I'm looking for, baby. So, yeah, baby, we're going to find out. But let me not panic too much, all right? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be the one that's, locked in. No, Noriega, don't tell me that, Noriega. Noriega said Omar Khan fumbled the bag big time, man. We ain't getting Ayuk. No, man, don't do us like that, man. No, man. But no, that's my only thing right now. I'm just like, yo, everybody's finding their dance partners for the season, man. All right. Eventually, man, you got to stop trying to be picky and just choose, bro. Hey, look, man. She said she wanted 2. Man, just go get it, man. All right, go get it, because it's about to get real weird in a little bit, man. All right? We just don't want to get weird on us. But yeah, we're going to find out soon. So that's how I felt, like I said, about the offense. Now, when we spin it to the defensive side of the ball, was pleasantly surprised about us keeping 8 defensive linemen, man. When you're talking Isaiah Loudermilk, Dean Lowry, along with Logan Lee, I thought that all 3 of those dudes, they brought in unique characteristics, but at the same time, because they weren't as loud this preseason as a DeMarvin Leal, right? Or as a Montravius Adams or Keanu Benton. I just thought that, man, one of those 3 that I had named could have potentially been a casualty, but it was good to see that they kept all of those guys. Because to me, man, Montravius Adams, since he's come to the Steelers, bro, he has been just dynamite, man. The urgency that he plays with, his production, how disruptive he is. And he does it at the nose tackle spot. Like I said, he plays it like a 3 technique, but over the center. And it's a very unique approach, but it's productive and it works for him, and especially in our defense. You think about that, man, Keanu Benton, we're super excited to see what he's going to do this year, man. I think his role continues to expand. But when we look at DeMarvin Leal, it's like, yo, you're going to be a guy that we're going to be leaning on heavily. But Dean Lowry, gives you that same type of high floor, maybe not as high of a ceiling as a Leal, right? But when you talk about a guy that can come in and provide veteran reps, this isn't a rookie. This is a guy that's been in this league and is produced in this league. So now you got somebody that can give you quality snaps on defense versus the run, along with if you have to push the pocket a little bit, you can do some of that too. So I like all of that in that room right there, man. I think that's major. And obviously with us putting Cole on the list, that opened up the door at linebacker to keep that 8th guy in there, man, which was beautiful. So I love the fact that we got both Mark and Tyler Matakavage in that inside line or in the linebacker room, because everywhere else in there, man, is stacked. We talk Highsmith, TJ. We know what them boys are gonna be on. E-Rob, PQ. We feel great about that situation. Yeah. So loving that, man. DB though, I still feel a little like just at the slot. That's it. Everywhere else I'm good, man. Deshaun, Jalen, Mink, Dante, Casey, Killebrew, JPJ, Darius Rush, Corey Trice, man. I feel great about all those dudes. Even Beanie, I feel confident in. It's just, like I said, man, it's the rookie vibe, you know? And that's the part for me where I just get a little uneasy when we talking some of this rookie stuff. But the other part is, you heard me kind of talking about some of the special team stuff or the lack thereof from a gunner's perspective on the offensive side of the ball. Well, the flip side is now that puts a lot more pressure, a lot more burden on those defensive backs, man, because those are going to be the guys that are going to have to do, you know, pretty much the majority of the line share of the team's coverage standpoint. So in that sense, man, you will stress them a little bit, but those guys got to understand what the challenge is going to be and rise to it and answer that bell. But shout out to Corey Trice, though, man. I wanted to shout him out real quick, man, solely because, man, when you work your whole life to get to this level, it's insane, right? It's your life's work, your greatest accomplishment, man. You feel so good, this ultra high that you're on, you get drafted and everything like that. And then for him, you go from having a dope OTA, you tear your ACL, you know, at the beginning of training camp. It sucked, right? But instead of him pouting, instead of him moping, instead of him, you know, shutting down and going into the tank, this dude worked. And when I watched him this year, man, when you watched him in training camp practice, you watched him at OTAs, you watched him in these preseason games, you could tell that it wasn't just him rehabbing. This dude was also in the lab from a fundamental and eyes standpoint, man. Watching this guy in this Lions game, man, make certain plays because his eyes are in the right place. Watching him play so fast and react to certain things because to him, it's like, yo, I've seen this before. And that's the thing that really stood out and that kind of let me know that he was doing what he was supposed to do while he was rehabbing, man. And it's not always something that you could take for granted. We've seen guys have ACL injuries here in Pittsburgh that were high pedigree guys, and they never really came back and returned to form. So the fact that Corey Trice has shown that, man, even as a young dude, he was kind of able to get his feet back up under him, man, and put together a dope preseason. Man, we got to salute the homie Corey Trice for that, man. So I know for me, I'm super excited to see what he's going to do in the regular season. Because not only do I like his versatility in terms of him playing outside, they also had him playing some of that slot in that Lions game. But more importantly, the physicality, man. This is the AFC North. You got to tackle. We know you got to tackle. But you look at Corey, man. Corey is hitting people in this preseason. It doesn't matter if it was down by the line of scrimmage versus the run in terms of him crack replacing or blitzing. And then you also got a chance to really see him hatting in hands, you know, versus that screen play where they try to have one guy block and he getting around that thing. Like, that's all studying, man. Studying and just trusting your technique. Understanding what the assignment is and obviously executing it to a high level. And for him, man, it was just really good to see that. So I had to make sure we take some time while we are talking about everything, man. Just show him a little bit of love right there, man. So like I said, definitely shout out to Corey Trice, man. But as a whole, man, I like the group, man. I like the group. I can't say that, you know, I feel elite confidence in it, but I do feel confident about this room, man. And I think that with these, hopefully with these DBs and receivers, man, they're going to answer the call, man, because it's going to be a lot of stress put on them. But once again, man, if the only person we're worried about on defense in terms of that starting 11 unit is Beanie Bishop, I think we're in a great spot because you think about it, we're going to have playmakers everywhere else, man. You're going to have Cam, TJ, Highsmith, Larry O, Benton. That's all up in your front rush. You know you got PQ, E-Rob, Peyton Wilson. Those are your three insides, man, that's going to get active, right? We feel really good about Dante Jackson along with JPJ. And then you know what Minka gonna do. Minka gonna do that Minka stuff this year. You know he ready to do that Minka stuff. So that's a whole bad man over there. And then you got Deshaun Elliott, another proven veteran that's been around this league, man, that's very familiar in this division as well. That gives you a higher end version of, like we talked about with the Edmonds type plays, right? In terms of not only can you give me some tackling, but you also give me a little bit more in the coverage vein. That's what Deshaun Elliott brings to the table. So to me, man, I love all of that. So if my only concern is Beanie, and I thought that Beanie played really well these 2 preseason games that he was in. We know obviously he didn't play versus the Bills. He was kind of leaking oil right there. But to me, man, when I watched Beanie, I thought that he triggered well. I thought that he wasn't afraid to tackle. And I thought as a whole, his eyes were where they needed to be. Now, we talk about some of the little technique things or, you know, a little miss here, a little bad thing there. That's going to come with being a rookie. He's not going to be perfect. But I love the intent. I love the focus. And more importantly, I love the production from him, because we can't just assume that because he's out there, he's going to make a play. Because there are a lot of guys that play in this league that never make a play. And that's partly why they don't stay long. But that's, you know, the name of the game, man.